Today we're going to be discussing how do we eliminate the limits for business growth with no-code strategies and best practices. So I'm pleased to be joined by some esteemed colleagues. We have Chris Slade, who is the commercial director from Format 14 CRM. Chris, welcome.
Hi, good afternoon, everyone.
All right.
Good afternoon, good morning.
Yeah, depending upon where we are, right, Chris? It's a beauty of being a global organization. And Tolga Artem. Tolga is the chairman of Lucky Eye. Tolga, it's a pleasure to see you again, my friend. How are you?
Thank you, Eric. It's all great in Istanbul. It's a bit late. It's 7 p.m. right now in Istanbul, but everything is fine.
All right, excellent. Well, we appreciate you joining at such a late hour. So as always, we enjoy our conversation. So guys, as we start to think about the topic, how do we eliminate those barriers to growth within organizations, and we start to look at what those challenges might be. Great way to kind of maybe start the conversation is to understand what those challenges are. So I'll put this out there, guys, and feel free to just jump right in. But what do you see as the main barriers or the main challenges that are limiting business growth in today's world?
I think from my perspective, it's really challenging the status quo. So most organizations that we're dealing with seem to have a pretty large applications backlog. And it really stops the business going to IT, to their partners, and sort of saying, I need these amendments made, or I need these new systems introduced, because they're just used to being told, push back, you have to wait 6 months, a year, 24 months sometimes, so before they can move forward. So status quo, just not accepting no for an answer, really. So, there's people who are in a hurry at the moment coming out of the pandemic.
Absolutely. We have a saying here in the States that the quick and the dead, right? That's how you have to look at it. Tolga, what do you think are some of those biggest challenges?
I think what we face here in my region is there's a big uncertainty in terms of living, economic conditions, business conditions, and this makes companies and organizations they have a lack of speed in decision-making processes. And this makes them to stop changing their company to more flexible. So they cannot adapt to new world after COVID, I believe. And this is the basic thing that we are facing for business growth in our country right now.
Yeah, I think we're seeing that in multiple areas. And if I think of, the challenges that, as I'm talking to customers that I'm seeing out there, is the ability to predict those disruptors, right? Like being able to, learn, I don't think any organization has a data problem. It's how do we leverage that data to better predict, what those disruptors are going to be. And, to your point, Chris, how do we get ahead of those quicker, right? Like, let's not maintain that status quo. Let's make sure that we get out ahead of these disruptors. And, I really think that, low code and no code is a way to do that, right? We can start to build predictive models. We can start to understand, we can develop quicker, not have those project backlogs that, we're starting to see today.
I mean, we try to really go and meet, our customers and take a digital first approach. But what we're really looking for is an opportunity to talk about a point of view. The sort of no code point of view means you have more rapid ROI, means, you have happier users. It means you can achieve some of those dreams and plans that your business has been talking about. And now you can put them into place quicker than with traditional systems. Yeah. So.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, let's poll the audience as well. You can respond to this in the chat section, guys. So the poll question is this: what are the main constraints for your business growth? And the options today are: is it high competition in the market, lack of flexibility, lack of technological innovation, or lack of skilled resources. So four very good, choices and things that we see out in the market. So we'll give the audience a few minutes to kind of respond to that, guys, and it'll be interesting to see those results. So as we move forward in the discussion, these are very good points. And if we start to think about those challenges, we have to also start to think about how we're going to overcome those constraints and those challenges. So in your world, guys, you're in this day in, day out. What is the best approach, and can you share with the audience, how do they overcome these challenges?
Yeah, very good question, Eric. So, the challenge is, people are coming forward with this backlog of applications that they have to, I suppose, ration. Sort of, they have limited capital for investment. They want to put their money where they get the greatest return on return. So we're helping them really use no code to do, application prototyping wherever possible. So help the business visualize what this will mean to their working practices. And with the more advanced business process management and workflows, we're able to demonstrate an end-to-end application much quicker than normal, and to use that as a way of getting consensus and commitment from people to allocate resources to a project, and then traditionally running projects in an agile way with rapid deliverables where appropriate, and so on. Yeah.
Great. Tolga, what are your thoughts?
I think understanding the change in the environment is very vital right now. And to do this, we have to get the data of the customers, partners, and other people in the organization about their expectations. And to be a more agile and a consistent company, you have to reflect these expectations to your processes, which the no-code and low-code systems takes place here, I believe, because you have to experiment the right choice, because you can never be sure about what is the exact true option among the others before trying them. I call it experimental way of doing something. And in marketing, for example, it's very important to do experiments to get these insight from other parties and deploy them. So we have to experiment, and we need some flexible applications or technical environment to reflect these changes. And this is where no-code and low-code platforms takes the responsibility or gets into the action, I believe, because we are helping the business users to reflect their ideas into business operations. And this is actually helping them to measure the KPIs and the reflection of the changes that they are doing in these uncertain times. And it makes everything easier and fast, I believe.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I would definitely agree with that. And it's also when we think of like innovation, right? We want to bring in people to be collaborative in that environment as well. So many times, ideas were created on the business side of the house and then pushed out to IT that had to kind of try to understand that. Well, I believe that no code truly bridges that gap and brings everybody into to a collaborative mode, and that's really where innovation happens, and it allows organizations to become ahead of the curve, right? Like as opposed to trying to keep up. And to your point, Chris, I think that as they're as people are challenged, and they have to start to look at where can they get the biggest bang for their buck, right? We have to understand time to value in these projects, and being able to demonstrate that value by saying, hey, we can accelerate this development process, start to recognize a value immediately. That helps us sell projects and helps us achieve goals a lot quicker. So I think that that's something that's a great approach. That's the way you have to look at it, right?
And the carrot of the citizen developer is very motivational to some organizations, because there's a bunch of people they've hired who are pretty IT literate. They're in operations type jobs. They can easily help stand up some of these applications that do not require programming, and therefore take more ownership in terms of the success of the rollout of these assignments. So we see quite a connection there. Plus, IT, it's almost impossible to hire people sometimes. There's people are scarce, skill set, resources, it's very competitive to get people. There's a lot of price inflation, wages at the moment. So it's difficult. So no code sort of bodes well from that perspective in many ways.
Absolutely, absolutely. And as we think about no code, helping to promote that business or company growth, what are some specific examples? Do you guys have any specific examples of how no code have helped your clients overcome challenges and grow?
It's really clearing the applications backlog. They've had a desire to have new functionality for quite some time, and they've been pushed back by the business has been pushed back, saying they have to wait, and the no code opportunity has given them the ability to bring forward product changes in financial services and investment products much faster. Yes, so that's very good.
Yeah, yeah.
And I think it brings agility to the organization in every detail, in every department, which helps the company to understand the change around the business and reflect it, I believe. And especially for the business users to get more role in the process of developing things about them. It helps them to understand the process more clean and reflect the changes accordingly, which makes the company gain higher productivity and agility, I believe.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, agility is key, right? Agility is, I think, a key aspect of no code that enables people to pivot very quickly as business needs change or business workflows change. You need to be able to adapt and be agile enough. I go back to we have a customer here in Massachusetts, where I'm from, where when the pandemic hit and lockdown occurred, it was a construction company, and they weren't able to get back to work building, the beautiful skyscrapers here in Boston. And when the time came for those individuals to come, back to work, and, lockdown restrictions were lifted, they needed a way to get these employees, which there were, thousands of them, back to work very quickly. So with, no code really enabled them to develop applications that would, one, be able to, track those individuals that are coming back to work, limiting their exposure, being able to track who they came in contact with that particular day, should anything arise. But that's just a great example of being agile enough to get, hundreds, thousands of people back to work, in a quick and efficient manner. They were able to get that application up and running in less than 2 weeks. And with traditional development, you wouldn't have been able to do that, right? You needed to be very agile and being able to pivot very well. So I think that that's the biggest value. But let's ask the audience what their thoughts are on the benefits of no code. So again, you can submit your answers in the chat section. And the question today is, which benefits of no code development do you consider as the most valuable for your business? The choices today are cost savings, accelerated time to market, better resource allocation, bridging collaboration gaps between departments, or flexibility. I think there needs to be another one in there, guys, right? It's all of the above, right? But yeah, great question, and great way to kind of think about how no code is going to bring value to organizations. So when we think to the future, right, we had a pandemic that really increased the adoption of no code, low code technologies. But if we think to the future and we think about other disruptors or other trends that are going to impact tech and application strategy over the next 12 to 24 months, what do you guys think are those trends? What do you think is going to impact the tech and application strategy in the near and long term?
I sort of see it's really automation is very, very key in a lot of industries at the moment. Whether they're sort of more office-based or factory-based organizations, automation is key, as is, I suppose, improving sort of the front office systems, combining those with robotic automation and CRM. So that's a big area of focus for us.
Yeah, automation, hyper automation. I think we heard about in the last session, right? So I love that term, hyper automation. Toga, what do you see as the up and coming trends here?
I think we entered a different decade recently because of the effects of the COVID. We cannot understand it in an open way, but I think there are different possibilities coming to a digital physical world in the coming years for different needs, different customer types, different approaches of doing business. And I think we will need some tools to adapt ourselves to this new digital physical world, and we should maybe there will be different businesses that we have never thought about, and we should be adapting ourselves to these new segments that we will be facing. But to compete in this new era, I believe automation is important, and the use of AI and AI-related use cases is also very important because it highly depends on data. And if you can use data and automate data using the AI tools, it will be very important for organizations to predict decisions, I believe. And with no-code approach, automation approach, that helps to automate these AI-driven decisions, it will be easier to pass through a digital physical world that we will be facing in the coming years, I think.
Mm-hmm. I would agree. That's great insight. So, and as we think about those trends, we think about, we've addressed challenges, we've addressed trends, we, have taken a look at how no code can to help eliminate those. And again, this is a world you guys live in. What is the best, approach to somebody that may be considering, no code? Where do they get started? Where does this get interjected into their strategy? What do you think is the best approach to start leveraging no code technology?
I suppose it's research, it's education, it's about giving everybody in your company the opportunity to learn about no code and what it really means, for the business and for their own positions, and how they can contribute really. So it's something that should be embraced with a lot of keenness, I think. So it's of interest. It's breaking down some of the silos. It's helping modern businesses actually have different constituents working within them. Putting more people in the business, really, rather than in a business function, just supporting the business.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
I also agree about empowering the people to understand what is no-code, low-code, and how they can get advantage through this no-code, low-code systems. And it will also make a shift in their way of doing business to present how they think and how they create ideas and turn them into action, I think. And to do this, you should be selecting the right platform that will enable your employees to gain more advantage through the platforms. And in some cases, in our region, companies are starting with small projects that helps them to understand how their organization is reflecting these changes, and how they are trying to understand their own way of adopting to the no-code and no-code adoption. And also, if you select the platform that suits your needs, then you should be aligning the departments and organization around this, I believe, because getting the results and making them understand how they achieve it, and making the others to learn from the initial doers is also important inside an organization in terms of strategy, I believe.
Mm-hmm. Wonderful, wonderful. Yeah, great insight, guys. Couldn't agree more with those strategies. I think hopefully the audience is able to leverage some of that knowledge. I'm getting the wrap up sign, guys. So I wish we had more time. This is a fascinating conversation. But again, really appreciate your expertise and your thought leadership in this arena. And again, I'm sure the audience is able to take away some strategy on how to eliminate those barriers. So Chris, Tolga, wonderful conversation, and let's do this again, because I love these types of conversations.
Absolutely.
Thank you, Eric.
Okay, gentlemen.
Bye then.
Thank you. Bye bye.